Today in the crypto space, we see the market a bit hesitant. Bitcoin right around that $100,000 level and dropping. Ethereum right around $3,800 and also dropping down to slightly lower levels. And the rest of the crypto space, these altcoins, a mix of green and red. We have some good gainers today, AVAX and SUI and Aave and a few others. However, the way the market looks at the current moment, we could be getting a dip. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator. But more importantly, I want to talk about one heavyweight, one project that I'm really bullish on in the long term, and that project is Solana. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins. Looking for opportunity, whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. We can see that the overall market cap has been grinding to the upside in the last little while with low volume. Not a good look. If you want to have convictions in this market, we got to make sure that we have overall market participation. Market participation is an indication that there is obviously market participation that is also convicted and ultimately bringing in that trading volume. At the current moment, we do see that the market cap looks a little bit rounded at the top, which means that, we could be rolling over here. And if we are rolling over and we do get an increase in volume as the volume drops, it's not a good look. Look at the last time that happened. We got a volume, the market cap was falling and we got the volume spike. What about if the market cap also falls once again with an increase in volume? That would mean that there's overall consensus in the market that the market cap should fall. A sell-off continues. Now, of course, I might sound a little bit bearish here, but ultimately the whole objective here on the channel is to be buying the dip. Why? Because we are bullish. We want to be able to pack our bags big and heavy so that when we move to the upside once again, we can definitely be in some green profit, right? So that's what we're going to be looking for is bottom dwelling price action. We're going to be looking for opportunities to buy low and sell high. We are not exit liquidity, and we've been killing it here on the channel in the last little while, finding opportunities. All right, guys, let's scrape through the top 100 and then we'll take a look at the Bitcoin chart just to use it as an indicator, and then we'll jump into the Solana chart because I believe that obviously Solana being a heavyweight, it should continue showing a lot of strength alongside Ethereum, battling for that market cap to much higher levels, and at the same time keeping in mind that the Solana based ecosystem projects that are smaller cap will also do very well. So we can see Bitcoin kind of breaking down here just a little bit in the media short term after a little bit of a double top on the lower time frames. We see Ethereum getting a slight pullback, and we see a bit of a rounded top on XRP, a rounded top on BNB, a bit of a rounded top on Doge, and the list continues. We have been getting relief in the last little while. AVAX doing really good today. However, it didn't break above its previous high here on the 1 hour time frame. These fractals right here represent the 1 hour time frame, and ultimately if it doesn't make a higher high, the trend is your friend, and the likelihood is that we're coming down to lower levels. Now, it might be a little bit premature here. However, I do not like where we are, and I don't like the way Bitcoin is hesitating without volume and market participation. You guys know how it is, guys. We hit resistance without volume, we're going to get rejected, and we're coming down. And this is the major concern here. We do have Chainlink looking very strong. I say Link is probably the man of the match today out of the top 100, up 13%, doing pretty good because it broke above its previous high. Now, big picture, I'm not sure what's happening on the higher time frames. Obviously, guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover on the channel, join the live stream. The live streams, I'm taking requests. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to look at, join live, make those requests. I'll put them in top priority. We'll come up with those setups. We'll look for those opportunities to get in at bottom dwelling prices so that we can get those pops to the upside. And you can see that the market could be giving us this opportunity in the next little while. Even though SUI did very, very well in the last bit, we are getting a bit of a rejection here, just a slight rejection. The question is this just the beginning? Is it the beginning before we see a further correction? Look, Pepe not looking good. Nobody's going to tell me that this looks great on the 1 hour time frame. We got a confirmation high, a lower high as we speak. Do we come down for another lower low? That is the concern here. Pepe down approximately 6.2%. Not a good look at the current moment for Pepe. And the way that looks, it looks pretty bearish. Of course, we got the anomalies. We got Hyperliquid looking great, still running off its bullishness. We have Aave looking good based on Donald Trump buying up Aave for his exchange, and we'll talk about that live, of course. And we got a lot of other opportunities, as you can see, that are suggesting that we are getting a confirmation high, a lower high. Now again, be prepared with that dry powder, be prepared to buy the dips. I know we got that wick to lower levels, but a lot of the times wicks get filled in the sense that the tip of the wicks get tested again, and it's very likely that we could possibly do that given the fact that we didn't really get a tons of pain. The fear and greed index is still very greedy, and I'm looking for opportunities to deploy when the market is fearful. Mantra showing strength here, going sideways at least. That's a sign of strength in bearish conditions. So as long as we go sideways, Mantra is looking okay. Optimism didn't roll over yet, not getting any signs of weakness just yet. However, guys, be very critical. Athena double topping, maybe getting its rejection after a nice move to the upside. And Solana swap doing good, making higher highs and higher lows. However, at the current moment, going sideways, planking sideways, and thinking that maybe it does a Bart Simpson. It could be very possible. Lido DAO doing great, and we got Virtual's Protocol doing great as well, reaching the top 100. Are we flagging out bullish here with a bit of a bull flag on the lower time frames? It's very, very possible. This is fine because you can get in on that bull flag, put the stop loss underneath the flag, and continue to the upside. Beam getting a big rejection, guys. Unfortunately, but fortunately for me, I am ready with some dry powder directly allocated to Beam. I'm going to be buying that dip very, very hard if we get to some lower levels. Okay, so keep that in mind. The market works in peaks and valleys, and you got to ask yourself, are you ready for a valley here? Are you ready for a dip? And if you're not, get prepared, because if it does happen, you want to have that dry powder on the side. At the end of the day, guys, you should have your bags pretty packed at the current moment for this bull run. And if you haven't, maybe you came into this crypto space a little bit too late. That's totally fine. Let's just make sure that you deploy fresh capital at levels of where there's in a position of strength. You want to be buying bottoms, not tops. You don't want to be exit liquidity, okay, guys? So be free. Feel free to join that Discord. The Discord is really great because it's a great community. We're there trying to help people out, help ourselves out, obviously, learning these markets and preparing for the next leg to the upside, because the market is just getting started. Okay, guys, we have a lot of good opportunities here, as can be seen, but again, the question is, what is Bitcoin doing? Guys, I know you're here to talk about charts, so let's begin. Let's take a look at what's going on with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, at the end of the day, is still in its upwards sloping or upwards channel to the upside, right around the $100,000 level. Pretty stable, pretty secure. However, guys, when are we going to get the volatility? A trader needs volatility in order to make some gains, and the question is when. Let's take a look at this in a little bit more detail. Now, we can see that Bitcoin, is not a really good trading zone. This is where the market tends to give back all their gains. Guys, if you have been very successful trading to the upside in easy mode, this is where people start giving back their gains to the market. It is okay not to trade, despite what people say on socials, despite the YouTubers that are talking about pumps and all of this. The reality is it's okay to take a break and let the market bring you a trade. On the daily time frame, you can see that the market is a little bit confused. And when you see signs of confusion, it is okay to let it kind of resolve. Let it resolve, give us a signal, give us a direction, and we will definitely trade that direction. At the current moment, yes, the trend is your friend. We're moving to the upside, but with no volume, I am very critical. And you can see that there's not much volume in this level. If we get onto the 4-hour time frame, you can see that the volume is kind of tapering in here. There's nothing really happening. And we want to see some good spikes of volume, as we had in the past. If you start looking at what happened right here, we got a nice big chunk of volume, and then all of a sudden we stopped. We pretty stopped, and you can see that ultimately we tapered in. It tapered in. We got a few spikes. That was the sell-off. We got a few spikes. That was the dip, and we're getting more volume on the dips than we are on the pumps, and that's not a good sign, because ultimately we want the pumps to have volume. We want to see the aggressive moves to the upside. Now, if we start looking more on the 4-hour, I would be focusing on the 4-hour for one aspect, is following this trend. You can see that it's been respected many times. The question is, do we disrespect this trend by making the beginning of a change of character by making this a lower high? A lower high right here is not a good look, especially if we come back down to the trend line to make a lower low, guys, because that's the beginning of a change of character from technical analysis, market structure. That would consider the beginning of a pivot point that we could be coming down, guys. So this is my issue right now, is that although I am pretty much 95% deployed into this market, I am clear and ready to be buying the dips if we come down, and I'll be aggressively looking for ways to raise capital, whether it be shorting or other ways into access capital. I'll be even taking profits on some good gainers that have maybe not retraced yet, and buying dips on undervalued scenarios, undervalued projects that definitely have a lot more growth to the upside, whether it be getting into smaller caps that are at the bottom of the range that haven't moved yet, or whatever the case may be. But at this current moment, I am ready and prepared for a potential correction to the downside that would induce a bit more pain. Now, if you look at what's going on here with these oscillators, you can see that we've been in the chop zone for way too long. Chop zones are ruthless. They're not great trading ranges, because ultimately you don't know which direction we're going. Are we going up or are we going down? Yes, we are slightly to the bias to the upside, but as the momentum suggests, there's no clear direction. So how are we going to trade this? Unfortunately, there's two options here. Either get on lower time frames and literally scalp your way into trading some good opportunities. Today, we on the Discord, I showed you this flag. It broke down. This was the opportunity. This empty volume gap looks very clean, and ultimately an opportunity to see the price fall a little bit lower, okay, as we get into oversold conditions. That's one option. Option number two is trade higher time frames and look for the bigger pivots, and that's what I'm appreciating at the current moment, because that's where you can fill your bags on spot, right, and margin positions. For those of you that are on the sidelines, what you really want to see is a market where the momentum is oversold. The momentum currently is not oversold, and we are seeing signs of a lot of divergence. Look at the price action, higher highs on the price action, lower highs on the momentum, and we can see the trend. The trend EMAs are facing down with red histogram bars to the downside, and this purple expansion was a lot weaker than the previous, suggesting that the bulls are losing strength at this $100 level. So on the daily time frame, I am not willing to take this risk. I am willing to take risk once we start accessing this level right around 87, and at worst case we come down to 76, which would fill the CME gap, and that would be the worst case scenario, because ultimately we have to prepare for worst case scenarios just in case that happens. But for me, I'd rather deploy heavily into the $86,000 level and then deal with it if it comes down, raise capital and with shorts or any other way, and ultimately be able to DCA at these lower levels again at 77 if it happens, okay? Because ultimately getting overly bearish in this condition is also risky, guys, because you'll miss out on a potential recovery here again at 87,000. Okay, so that's my objective on Bitcoin. And if this happens to Bitcoin, as you can see, we're still pushing down on the 4-hour time frame. It's a little clearer. You know, if this keeps on happening to Bitcoin, where we kind of eventually roll over and break down, guys, I'm looking for opportunities in the altcoin market. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. Now, on a side note, we could definitely keep on going here. We can start pumping to much higher levels. I am aware of that. But in this stage in the market, you should have your long-term spots already filled up, ready to go. They should be packed. You shouldn't be playing with your long-term holds. So if you're, again, on the sidelines waiting for long-term hold opportunities, you got to buy dips. You can't be buying tops, because it's very likely you become exit liquidity here. Okay, so be careful. Now, let's take a look at the project for today. It's Solana. Now, keep in mind that if Bitcoin dips, Solana will dip. Okay, despite the bullishness, despite what we think about other projects, things dip, right? And Bitcoin has the strength to induce so much fear in this market that riskier assets, risk-on assets within the same space will definitely dip a lot harder. Now, we can see that Solana has been a little slumpy in the last little bit, but Solana as a performer in this bull run, let's get on the 4 days so you can see a little bit what's been happening. Guys, we got to understand, Solana was a great performer. Now, two opportunities you got to think that was here on this chart. Number one, down here, where a lot of us in the bear market that were here hustling got entries, and we deserve these entries because we did not leave the market during the moments that it mattered in the bear market. Then ultimately it flew up. Okay, we got to understand it flew up. I got my entries at $8 to $10. That was my entries on Solana. And then also ultimately we ran up pretty hard. Then at this level we formed structure, another good opportunity that I was talking about here on the channel to be buying the dips. Green arrows. I couldn't have put any more signals here that suggested opportunity. Then all of a sudden we go for another extension to the upside, and now that we're up here, you got to understand that there's a lot of profitable individuals, people that bought at much lower levels that are profitable. Do you think at any sign of weakness in the Bitcoin chart they are not going to take profit? They will. They will take profit. So in that case, if Bitcoin does roll over, we will see Solana potentially come down. The problem is with this chart, it's not clear. It's not really clear. To be honest, we touched the previous high and got rejected, and it's not clear enough to me where we're going to be coming, because really there's no real amazing volume gaps for opportunity. The only thing that we could use is psychological levels, which are tops in this case, not backed by volume. These tops don't have much volume, and you can see that based on the volume profile in this horizontal space. There's not much volume here on the volume profile. So we could still come down and hunt some of this liquidity. And as suggested with my yellow boxes, I still feel like the golden pocket, which is right around this level, the golden pocket is the retracement, Fibonacci retracement 0.65618. Within that range is the golden zone. If we do come down to the zone, guys, and hunt just a little bit of this liquidity, we will have the opportunity to buy these liquidations, buying on the cheap. And I think that's where we need to be happy buying. Do we break down through the structure again and come down to 120? Maybe, but I don't think so. I think that the best case scenario right now is coming down to a golden pocket retracement if we do, and ultimately being able to buy the dips in this zone. Again, $175, that would be amazing ultimately for a nice buy opportunity. Okay, so that's that here on the daily. And if we look at the 4 hour, we can see that we're playing games here, kind of teeter-tottering. We're still making lower lows and lower highs. I don't like rounded tops. I like rounded bottoms. Rounded tops suggest distribution, sell-off. We do have a bit of a volume gap to allow the price to fall and then eventually get that support right around, again, that yellow box that I highlighted on the daily. So guys, keep an eye on all of this. Okay, so let's go back to the daily a second, because I kind of went quickly over the oscillators. Let's see what's going on here. You can see that ultimately we are getting some follow through. Let me zoom in a little bit more on the local price action right here. You can see that the momentum is falling. It's falling as it's coming down. It might get that reset. EMAs are facing down with red histogram bars. So you can see that the pressure and momentum is still to the downside. We got a red expansion forming right into here. We can't ignore this. Although right now there's some people that are super bullish, the data suggests that we are still in a sell pressure here on Solana. And with Bitcoin showing us that, you know, indecision and uncertainty is still risky. So I can see what's happening here. I see that the sell pressure is here. Now, again, dips are to be bought. Does it mean that you don't buy? Look, if we come down for a double bottom, sure, buy a little bit. But guys, if we do come down to $1.88 or even come down a little bit more, even to hunt liquidity at the golden pocket $1.70, I would be spamming buy orders, especially if we get a nice rounded bottom suggesting accumulation. Oversold conditions, purple line, momentum getting oversold below the 30% is ideal. Seeing the EMA crosses on the trend oscillator, get an EMA cross and start getting some green histogram bars, that's ideal. And maybe getting it on lower time frames and looking at what's happening here. Obviously, we see the momentum line very oversold and getting rejected in over at the chop zone over and over, suggesting that the bears are in control on the 4 hours still. Now we do see an expansion here, and we see the green histogram bars tapering in. Do we get an EMA cross? Do we see this thing fall again in the bearish control zone? Guys, it wouldn't be good on the 4 hour. So you can see that the 4 hour thesis is still very strong with regards to data, regardless of what the sentiment is right now on the socials. We got to be really clear. We got to be calm and collected. Now, again, we could be focusing on higher time frames like the weekly. The weekly still bullish. You can see that the momentum is still trending to the upside. But wouldn't you want to capitalize on any of the volatility to the downside in the immediate short term in order to pack those bags even bigger or buy those dips on projects that you feel you're underexposed in? Guys, that's the opportunity to trade the markets when they peak and they valley. Guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor, slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join the Discord, guys. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. Guys, I'm going to be live tonight at 8 p.m. EST talking about crypto news and price action. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.